Part 59. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 581. As Li Bai and others continued to shuttle through the time and space tunnel, some drastic changes were also quietly happening, all just because of the burst of this breath. After an unknown amount of time, Li Bai and others finally came to a space that was both strange and familiar. "Father, have we arrived?" Li Tian asked slowly. "Well, isn't that them?" Li Bai pointed to a place without showing any expression. Everyone looked and found that the three old men had been watching them here for a long time. The powerful breath distorted everything in the space, whether it was time or space, and even some laws, under this breath, were constantly revolving between obliteration and remodeling. "You've been waiting for me for a long time. Innate nirvana, innate destruction, and innate no thoughts?" Li Bai smiled and greeted the three old men. "Yes, Li Bai, long time no see." Innate no thoughts said with a smile. There was no tense atmosphere between the two sides. Instead, it was like old friends reuniting for many years, discussing everything over the past countless epochs in a calm tone. "In order to stop my plan, you three have been working hard over the past epochs," Li Bai said with a smile. "Ha ha ha. You are wrong. Aren't we always like this?" On Xuanhuan's face, which was as crisscrossed as a ravine, a mysterious smile appeared. "It can't be said to be ugly, but it can only be said to be not very good looking. You are right about this. You have been against me since the Origin War. To be honest, after my reincarnations, during the time when I had no memory, I was very afraid of you," Li Bai said slowly without refutation. "Oh, really? We feel extremely honored to hear the words of the white-robed emperor. To be honest, there is no irreconcilable hatred between us, it's just..." "Okay, don't tell me this. Since the Origin War, one of us is destined to perish, right?" Li Bai waved his hand and interrupted Xuanhuan's words. "Xuanhuan, fate has helped you a lot, right?" Then, Xuanhuan asked slowly. "Well, as you guessed." Li Bai nodded and said. "Haha, this woman is really like this. It's a pity that we can't kill her, and we can't kill her. I want to ask you a question, can you answer me?" After a long time, Li Bai asked slowly. "Old friend's question, we naturally know all the answers." Xuanhuan said with a smile, "They have come to this point now, everything has long turned into dust, and there is no difference whether to say it or not. Why do you want to betray?" "Betray? Oh, you mean the seven?" Xuanhuan said slowly. In response, Li Bai did not answer, but just stared at the three of them deeply. "Speaking of which, we don't know why, maybe it's because of desire, or some other reasons. Li Bai, we are different from you. We are born to be under one person and above 10,000 people. This situation is okay for a while, but, if it is accompanied by the passage of countless epochs, everyone will feel bored and will naturally have the emotion of devouring the master, right? You also know, who doesn't want to be the master of the era, let alone the master of the primordial era?" Xuanhuan said slowly. "Do you know the consequences of this? The master of the era is not a difficult thing, but the master of the primordial era is fundamentally different," Li Bai said with a hint of meaning. "I know what you are talking about. It's nothing more than the era they buried before, right?" Xuanhuan said melancholy. "So, you are not afraid?" "Of course I am afraid. After all, it is an unknown thing. Everything is unknown, with no traces to be found and no roots to trace back to. But being a king for a day is enough. I can't refuse the pinnacle of power," Xuanhuan said slowly. After hearing this, Li Tian and others felt a lot. It turned out that the innate origins also had desires and the desire to pursue power. They once thought that these innate origins themselves stood at the pinnacle of power. Now it seems that power and desire are endless. I'm very curious, what can you do? I think you should understand the strength of the seven masters. Although you are all innate originators, but don't bother you to worry about this. You are planning for countless eras, so are we. By the way, I'll let you meet someone, you will definitely be interested. After Xuanhuan finished speaking, a breath exactly like Li Bai suddenly spread. In an instant, the pupils of Li Tian and others trembled violently, because they found that they could not distinguish the authenticity of this breath. In other words, this is Li Bai's breath. Afterwards, a creature exactly like Li Bai slowly appeared in the space. The difference is that this Li Bai was wearing black clothes, as if he was both good and evil. This is Li Bai's evil clone. Father, this is father, no, this is not, what is going on? I know, this is the evil clone of my father. Evil Thought's clone. Didn't I remember that he disappeared during the battle between the immortal realm and the outer realm? This is the real clone of Evil Thoughts. That one is just a copy at best. At this moment, Li Bai and Evil Nian looked at each other from a distance. A smile flashed across their lips unconsciously, a smile that no one could detect. Especially Li Bai himself, there was a hint of emotion in his eyes that everything was fine. We finally meet, Li Bai. The Evil Thought clone said with a smile. Yes, this is our first meeting, right? The time in the outer realm doesn't count. Li Bai nodded and said with a smile. How are you okay? The Evil Thought's clone asked with concern. It's not bad, but there are always some things that exceed my expectations. Li Bai said with a smile. By the way, you've received it, right? The clone of Evil Thoughts said slowly. I have received everything you and the three of them talked about, but I haven't watched it in detail yet. What, why don't you give me a hug? The evil clone spread his arms and said with a smile. Certainly. Then, after hugging each other for a long time, the two slowly separated. I'm sorry for taking you so long. Li Bai said slowly. No need to say more, you are me, I am you, all this is of my own free will. The evil clone shook his head and said. By the way, I have a lot of things going on here. I believe you will be shocked. Deal with them first. Ha 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 ha, of course. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 582. Then, the two slowly looked at the three statues. This scene made Li Tian and the others, as well as Xuanhuan and the other three, completely dumbfounded, staring blankly at everything they were doing. Holy crap, what's going on? Things are going wrong. Ah, why do I have a feeling that the evil clone is like a mother? Shouldn't the father and the evil clone be in a hostile state? Hostile? Have you ever seen two hostile parties hug each other? What's more, it's the evil clone of my father. When Wu Nian and others saw this, they couldn't help but roar. Evil Thought's clone, you too, what's going on? What's going on? It's as you can see. The Evil Thought clone said with a smile. Seeing the smile on the Evil Thought clone's face, Xuanhuan seemed to understand everything in an instant, and then looked around in disbelief. Don't look, you can't find it, because you personally gave it to me. The Evil Thought clone said with a smile. At this moment, the three deities finally understood that the evil clone had been on the same front with Li Bai from the beginning to the end. What he said before was completely nonsense. However, it was such a simple conspiracy, and the three of them really believed it. All of this was discussed between the two of them and was planned countless epochs ago. That's it, that's it. Ha 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 ha, Li Bai, I am worthy of you, worthy of you. Unexpectedly, he actually planned to come here. Evil Thoughts, you are so cruel. In order to get that thing, You actually. Xuanhuan laughed and said, he really didn't expect that this was actually part of Li Bai's plan. From beginning to end, they never escaped Li Bai's plan. Speaking of which, these three are really not to blame for all this. After all, a living being and a clone with evil thoughts are in a state of tense situation whenever they meet each other. They are in a state of endless struggle to the death. This has never changed. Eternal truth, let alone the evil clone of a creature like Li Bai. There's no way. If I hadn't been born, you wouldn't have been able to hand that thing over to us willingly and without any doubt, right? Li Bai's evil thoughts clone said slowly. So, the end of dusk is also part of your plan. It's not me, it's my plan. Originally, we had to plan and wait for a few more epochs before meeting you, but due to certain things, we had to advance it. The evil clone shook his head and said. Twilight ends, are you talking about the one who appeared that time? Li Bai asked slowly. That's right, it's not convenient to talk about it here. I'll talk to you after the fight is over. Well, now that we've reached this point, there's no need to talk nonsense anymore. Come on, 3. Li Bai looked at the three statues and said slowly. In that case, let's come to the last showdown of the ages. Start the fight to the death. Xuanhuan said slowly. Good. Good. Followers, now. The three statues shouted angrily, and in an instant, rays of light seemed to hear the call, crossing the endless galaxy, stepping on the long river of time, and coming one after another. These are the followers of these three innate origins. There are 10 statues in total, each of them is there were originally a few people who originated from the day after tomorrow, but they were destroyed by Li Bai on the road to all realms. Most of them are old acquaintances of Li Bai and others. Li Bai, we meet again. This day has finally arrived. A follower looked at Li Bai and said slowly. It seems that you have already expected this day. Li Bai said lightly. Ha ha ha, of course, but obviously, maybe we will have a sad ending this time. A follower looked at Li Bai and his evil clone, shook his head and sighed, no matter who wins or loses in this war, it will be a huge loss for the entire era. This is not because they are putting money on their faces. Self-admiration, it is true that they have irreconcilable conflicts with Li Bai, but they, those who originated from the future, play a major role in the continuation and protection of the entire era. Since we can't escape, let's face it. Anyway, we have lived long enough and got enough. Ha ha ha, that's right. Isn't this also our fate? From the moment we became followers of the three of them, we were destined to be in this situation today. Although we can't defeat Li Bai and his evil clones, we should be able to compete with those. What's more, there are many people on our side. On the other side, Li Tian and others gradually became excited after seeing these followers. This was the first time since they were reborn. Father, leave them to us. Just go and fight those three with peace of mind. That's right, Father, please believe us. The next moment, Li Yao finally arrived. Father, I'm back. Li Yao shouted excitedly. Did you get the stuff? Li Bai said with a smile. Well, I've got it. In addition, Leng Wuxuan and Leng Yuan have also settled in. However, they always want to see you, especially Leng Yuan. It's probably because of the memory fragments. Almost. When I finish solving the problem, I will find them. Okay. Later, Li Yao also joined the lineup discussed by Li Tian and others. Yao, you are finally back. What are you discussing? Li Yao asked curiously. I'm thinking about how to distribute them. We only have 7 people, but they have 10. We don't have an advantage. If that doesn't work, second child, third child, the 3 of us will try, 1 against 2. Li Tian said slowly. It's difficult. After all, we are no longer our father's clones. There is not much difference between our strength and theirs. Just as everyone was talking about it, the next moment, a breath came quietly. The 3 breaths were all acquired origins, the most terrifying shit. When this breath came here, it seemed to be reduced to a primitive place of darkness. Immediately afterwards, a figure that was extremely familiar to Li Yao slowly appeared. Ancient Emperor Tongming. Li Yao covered her mouth and said in disbelief. Ancient Emperor Tongming. Is he the ruthless man who made a deal with his father? Holy shit. Why is he here? Also, his breath. At this moment, Ancient Emperor Tongming bowed respectfully to Li Bai and shouted. Tongming, I have seen the Emperor in white. After Li Bai felt the aura from Ancient Emperor Tongming that had the same origin as the Dark Disaster, he said slowly. It seems that you have been completely washed. What a disaster that guy's aura is. Yes, Lord Emperor, I have now completely become a follower of Lord Disaster. I am sorry for the things I exchanged with you before. I hope you will not keep it in mind. Ancient Emperor Tongming's posture was very low and humble. It doesn't have to be this way. To be honest, what you did impressed me. Throughout the ages, there have been very few people who have made deals with me on certain conditions. They are all the founders of the Taishu era. But you are an exception. Li Bai said with appreciation. Your Excellency, this is ridiculous. I just want to make progress too much, so I made this move. Did disaster bring you here? Li Bai nodded and said lightly. I wanted to come here myself. After all, being able to fight against the originator of War Day is my original intention of doing these things. I am also willing to be your pawn. Ancient Emperor Tongming's tone gradually became excited. He was finally able to touch the pinnacle of the era. No matter how shameful the process was, history will only remember that Ancient Emperor Tongming once participated in this war of the times. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 583. Being my pawn, you must know that there is no good ending. The best result is nothing more than a complete corpse. What's more, although this battle is not as grand as the Battle of Origin, it is no less dangerous. Li Bai said with a smile. I am fearless. I only ask you to help me this time. The ancient Emperor Tongming said fearlessly. Since you insist on going to die, I will no longer stop you. Li Bai nodded and said. The next moment, a ray of light that seemed to have traveled through tens of millions of years broke through the space and shone into this cold and silent space. In an instant, the darkness brought by the ancient Emperor Tongming was directly dispersed by these rays of light. In the endless light, a woman stepped on a little light and walked out. She was graceful and covered with light, shining brightly, as if the creature born in the light was nobler than all things in the world. All the beautiful words in the world are not too much to describe this woman, and even these words are a little unattainable. Compared with those eternal empresses, this woman seems to be a creature from another dimension, an incomprehensible creature, superior to any female creature. Light butterfly, follow the order of the Emperor, come to help. A voice that seemed to be able to wash away all darkness slowly floated in everyone's ears. Light butterfly. Who is she? Li Yao said in great shock, because just looking at her just now, she could feel that she might not be able to survive in the hands of the other party. One move, yes, one move. I don't know, in our memory, there has never been one. She, can't be Light. Li Tian thought of something, suddenly widened his eyes, and asked in disbelief. Light, damn, you don't mean. On the other side, the 10 acquired originators, after hearing this name, their faces changed drastically, and they said in disbelief. How is it possible, How could she appear? Isn't she neutral like those darkness? She just said that she was following Li Bai's orders, but, when did Li Bai know her? Has Li Bai been to light? I don't know. Trouble. Li Bai looked at Light Butterfly and said with a smile. Emperor, you are too polite. This is what Light Butterfly owes you. Light Butterfly said softly. Light, are you going to break the contract with us? Xuanhuan said fiercely. The appearance of Light Butterfly was completely unexpected to them. You know, they have always been strangers to light and darkness, and no one cares about anyone else. Contract? We have never had a contract. Everything before was just an unwritten rule that can be broken at any time. Of course, this time I am only representing myself. After all, I owe Lord Emperor a cause and effect. The disc looked at Xuanhuan and the other two and said slowly. So, are you, Guangming, declaring war on us? Xuanhuan looked extremely ugly, his face as gloomy as the abyss. You don't seem to understand my words. Guangdi frowned slightly and said. I said that I only represent myself, not Guangming. Ha ha ha, what you said is like farting. Don't forget your identity. How can you only represent yourself? Xuanhuan laughed. Believe it or not, I don't want to talk too much about these meaningless things with you. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Three of us, one-on-one, it's fair, isn't it? Li Bai said lightly. In that case, let's start the war. Boom. The next moment, as if the entire era was constantly changing, the figures of Li Bai and the three people and Xuanhuan disappeared in this space. Come on, let me see how strong you postnatal originators are. Fight. The next moment, the 10 postnatal originators and Li Tian and others were caught in an endless battle. In the newly opened space. Li Bai, Xuanhuan wants to see if you are the same as before after so many eras. Wu Nian era. Xuanhuan said softly, and in an instant, the surrounding environment kept changing, as if in a new era. Everything here is an era created by Xuanhuan that is similar to the Taishu era. This is the horror of the Xuantian originator. They can arbitrarily use themselves as the center and open up another era. Of course, the level of this era is weaker than the real Taishu. In this era, Xuanhuan is the master, the supreme master of everything. Any creature dragged into the era, life is no longer controlled by them at this moment. Finally, I'm interested. Li Bai's eyes lit up and said slowly. The power of origin, the form, and meaning are concrete. Kill. Xuanhuan didn't say anything nonsense, and directly burst out his own momentum. Then, an invisible sword light swept towards Li Bai. This sword light seemed to contain the origin of everything. It was the most primitive source of power, and it was also the power inherited from the moment of Taishu's birth. Origin annihilation. Behead. Li Bai said softly, and then he also swung a sword. The next moment, the two sword lights collided with each other, and the whole era seemed to be shaking constantly. This collision force was enough to destroy all creatures below the innate origin, even the acquired origin. Union. 3,000 divine kingdoms. Origin exile, annihilation. Then, in a short period of time, Li Bai and Xuanhuan fought countless times, and each move was enough to destroy an era, countless epochs. After countless evenly matched battles, the two stopped at the same time. It's so refreshing, Li Bai. You are worthy of it? Xuanhuan laughed loudly. It's okay, but you don't seem to have made any progress. Li Bai looked down on everything and said indifferently. At this moment, Li Bai seemed to be the Li Bai sitting on the pile of corpses in the previous picture, and in the end he was the only one who survived. Progress. Haha, how easy is that? Xuanhuan shook his head, his words full of sighs. Forget it, I won't talk to you about these empty things. Let's continue the battle. I don't know how you can resist this move. The era is destroyed. My life, Li Bai, is dead. Xuanhuan shouted angrily, and then, the eras around them suddenly seemed to be eroded by mysterious power and shattered directly. Endless fragments of the era, like meteors, kept hitting Li Bai. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 584. Then, among these countless fragments, pictures flashed rapidly like a slide, and then connected into completed and coherent images, and they were extremely strange images, beginning, nothingness, presence and absence, and the era. The birth, the end of an era, the birth and death of each extremely terrifying creature, as well as the changes of many dynasties, the fall of countless creatures, blood and war are constantly alternately stimulating the nerves. The most important thing is that these creatures and era dynasties are not fabricated at all, but the real existence is the same as that of another time and space. They are separated by endless time and different time and space, and they are constantly looking at each other with Li Bai. Then, the speed continued to accelerate, and finally turned into bits and pieces as fast as the speed of light. Until the end, it was fixed on the face of Xuanhuan, as if this was the end of this era, the one who controlled everything behind the scenes. At this point, a heavy look finally appeared on Li Bai's face, and there was a ripple in Gu Jingwuobo's eyes. He felt an unparalleled and unfamiliar force constantly exerting on Li Bai's body. At this moment, if someone above the emperor carefully observes, he will find that countless strands of cause and effect are constantly entangled with Li Bai, endless sins, and other negative forces, trying to corrode Li Bai's body. This scene is enough to scare an emperor to death. You must know that the power of cause and effect that a person can withstand is limited. Although some emperors claim to be untainted by cause and effect, after all, this is the line of cause and effect for countless generations and countless creatures. There is always something better than a creature that is countless times more powerful than itself. Not only that, this line of cause and effect was born of the times, not of me. Imagine that from the birth of the universe to the present, excluding the innate origins, the causal resentments of countless creatures and countless powerful people have been collected by the times and turned into causal lines and forcibly grafted onto one creature. What a terrifying scene it is. The taste of cause and effect really makes me miss it. Li Bai said slowly after feeling all the emotions in the countless lines of cause and effect. Then, rays of light suddenly burst out in his eyes, and he said with a smile, "Then let me see if these causes and effects can really affect me. Since that's the case, then let me, a person who is truly untainted by cause and effect, become the source of cause and effect." When the words fell, Li Bai gave up resistance and allowed these cause and effects to continue to enter his body. In an instant, these countless strands of cause and effect, like hungry wolves smelling flesh and blood, entered Li Bai's body crazily. Within it, anyone else would have disappeared at this moment. They could not bear the power of cause and effect, even those who originated from the day after tomorrow. When Xuanhuan saw this, he was dumbfounded. He had thought that these lines of cause and effect would not pose a real threat to Li Bai. He was just doing it for consumption and testing. How could he have expected that Li Bai would not follow the routine? Card, no longer resisting, let it be eroded. Li Bai, are you humming crazy? What are you doing? You, resist. Xuanhuan was shocked and cursed angrily. Why, you seem disappointed. Isn't this what you want to see most? Li Bai looked at Xuanhuan and teased. Okay, if that's the case, then let these lines of cause and effect kill you. Xuanhuan said angrily that he had never seen such a lunatic. You must know that even those of them who are innate origins will be extremely cautious when facing the cause and effect of countless eras, for fear of being accidentally contaminated. It seems invincible to the rest of the creatures, but they know that this is not the end. Gradually as time passed, Xuanhuan seemed to notice something was wrong. At this moment, Li Bai's body surface was constantly flashing with dark golden light, and Li Bai's aura was not only not weakened, but also strengthened. At this moment, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that Li Bai was using these causes and effects. Li Bai, you deserve to die. As the controller of this era, I order you to kill. Then, Xuanhuan roared angrily, and then countless extremely terrifying killing moves burst out. This was the most terrifying killing move for every living being in the era of Xuanhuan's creation. Then, these killing moves continued to come together. This kind of power seems to transcend everything. You must know that this is the blessing of countless eras of power, and there are also many incredible powers, such as fate, time, disaster, and other unpredictable powers. Kill me. With an angry roar from Xuanhuan, a sword of the times was born, and then slashed towards Li Bai. In front of this sword of the times, everything seemed to be in vain. It was all in vain, and no force could stop it. This is true even for the innate originator of the region. Perhaps, at this moment, we understand why the innate origins are so terrifying. Under this, everything is ants. After all, this is no longer a game between the same creatures. It is like two parties fighting. One party is still fighting with bare hands, and the other side directly detonated a nuclear bomb. If you want to judge me with the sword of the times, this is not enough. Besides, the era you created is not flawless, right? Collapse. Li Bai said lightly, and then, Li Bai's eyes condensed. In an instant, an invisible ray of dusk light burst out from Li Bai's pupils. In the eyes of Xuanhuan, which were like stagnant water, this ray of light burst out. After the light of dusk came into contact with the sword of era, it began to crack and then turned into nothingness. Click, 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 the sound is extremely crisp, like the sound of a clear spring. How is this possible, Li Bai, what did you do? How is it possible? This is absolutely impossible. There is no problem with my era, and I didn't notice that you used anything. Why did my sword of era be destroyed like this? Xuanhuan's expression was extremely distorted. It wouldn't matter if Li Bai used all his strength to shatter the sword of the age. After all, his skills were inferior to others. There was nothing to say. But it was clear that Li Bai didn't make any move. He just glanced at it. That's all. This may not be the issue you are most concerned about right now. You should pay more attention to those causal lines. Li Bai said slowly. Upon hearing this, Xuanhuan's eyes narrowed and he shouted angrily. Damn it, Li Bai, you have to condensate the cocoon of cause and effect. Stop it. Xuanhuan can't control that much at the moment. Although he doesn't understand how Li Bai did it, he must not let Li Bai condense the cocoon of cause and effect, especially in this era, the era he created. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 585. It's just a pity that Xuanhuan discovered it too late now. At this moment, these powers of cause and effect are completely out of his control. At this moment, Li Bai seems to be like a black hole, and the terrifying suction force prevents anything. Set up questions, keep devouring them, and follow the threads of cause and effect to peel off the cocoons. Stop it for me, stop it for me. Damn, damn. Xuanhuan said with scarlet eyes, and then continued to try to use various terrifying moves to stop Li Bai. At this moment, he panicked, and the emotion called fear gradually appeared in his mind. It kept circling, and then took root and sprouted. Although they still had the last trump card, they couldn't use it unless absolutely necessary, otherwise, they would not be able to bear the consequences. You'd better save it. Why don't you save your strength until the last moment? Li Bai looked at the incompetent and furious Yen Tianwunian in front of him and sighed, with a hint of disappointment in his tone. Li Bai, what the hell are you so arrogant about? Let me ask you, are you looking down on me? Are you disappointed in me? Xian Tianwunian gradually calmed down his mind and said while staring into Li Bai's eyes with a trace of doubt in his tone. Disappointment is out of the question. After all, this is what I expected. I also know that you still have a final backup plan. Now I am very curious, what exactly is your backup plan? They, Teishu, primitive, or, you, choose betrayal, complete betrayal. When he said the last sentence, Li Bai's eyes flashed with light. The last few words were said very seriously, as if he had seen through everything. Sure enough, after hearing this sentence, especially the last few words that emphasized the tone, Xian Tianwunian's pupils visibly trembled. I do not understand what you are saying. It doesn't matter, everything will be revealed soon, right? After a while, Li Bai's body was gradually surrounded by a layer of cocoon formed by the power of cause and effect. At this moment, Xian Tianwunian also understood that everything was powerless. The era he had just created might no longer belong to him. Sure enough, at the moment when the cocoon of cause and effect gradually burst, the innate Wunian was obviously weakened a lot, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. This was the blood of the innate originator. One drop can destroy an origin world without originators. For example, all heavens and worlds. Your era was very good, but unfortunately, it belongs to me now. Li Bai said with a smile. Hearing these words, Xian Tianwunian visibly trembled, as if he was a volcano about to erupt. These words were really heartbreaking, just like your wife is very moist. Li Bai, you deserve to die. If we don't kill you, we won't be willing to die. Xian Tianwunian's tone was extremely cold. The spring breeze is so good that the horse's hooves are so strong that you can see all the flowers in Chang'an in one day. You don't know how many epochs have passed. It's time for the sunset to fade away, isn't it? Li Bai retorted. What's more, in this era, my creatures are like crucian carps crossing the river. But guess what happened to them in the end? Either they surrendered to me or died, and you will forget about it? Several. Then, Li Bai changed the subject, his tone was fierce, and he looked down upon the world, as if he regarded the heroes of the times as trivial. This is the real Emperor in White, the Emperor in White who was indifferent to everything. You. Hearing these words, Xian Tianwunian opened his mouth, but in the end he did not refute, because this was a fact. They had not killed them before, and they still did not. However, after thinking about their backup plan, I feel like I can do it again. Li Bai, why do you think there are creatures like you existing? Xian Tianwunian asked this sentence from the bottom of his heart. Do you want to hear the truth? Certainly. To be honest, I don't know the meaning of my existence. After all, I don't even have the memory of my life experience or my growth. How do you think I should answer your question? Furthermore, you should also know that I am not a creature born in the beginning, right? Li Bai said slowly. That's right, the source that cannot be followed is too terrifying. It is a horror that even we have never thought of, just like the beginning of the road. Hearing this sentence, Li Bai's pupils suddenly tightened. He was too familiar with this word. During the time when Teishu was first born, a few of us thought that by reaching our realm, we had reached the pinnacle and that no one could surpass it. After all, we were the founders of the Teishu era. We were the founders of the Teishu era. The source is the creator of endless creatures, but until you appeared inexplicably and broke our laws. The cake is already so big, but you suddenly took a big bite. Do you think it should be destroyed? Xuanhuan Nian said slowly. It deserves to be destroyed. Li Bai nodded and said. In that case, why don't you die? Why, no matter what, we couldn't kill you or stop you before. Don't you think it's ridiculous? We are the masters, you just a latecomer. At this point, Xiantian Wunian's tone gradually became crazy. At this moment, all the battles between the two sides seemed to have no effect. They had to use their most terrifying tricks. Only one of them and Li Bai could survive. So, it's time for the results, right? Li Bai said calmly. Yes, you forced us to do this. Everyone come here. Xiantian Wunian shouted angrily. For an instant, the space seemed to be constantly changing. Then, the light butterfly and the evil thoughts clone, who were fighting against the innate annihilation and destruction, slowly came into this space. Your Majesty the Emperor. Li Bai. Guangdi and evil thoughts clone slowly greeted Li Bai. How about it? Li Bai said slowly. Your Excellency, please worry, Guangdi still has the strength to fight. Although it may not be possible to kill the other party cannot kill the light butterfly either. The light butterfly smiles like a flower, like an elf dancing in the light. This sentence is not wrong. After all, the light butterfly is an existence born in the light. As long as the light does not disappear completely, she cannot dissipate. And you? Li Bai asked the evil thoughts clone. Damn it, I have to say that this old guy is a bit difficult to kill. Sure enough, none of the innate originators are weak. The evil thought clone said with a smile. Although the words were light-hearted, both Guangdi and Li Bai could hear the seriousness in them. Evil Emperor, after all, the other party is the one with the innate origin, how can it be so easy to kill them, let alone there are 7 more above them, Guangdi chuckled. Nonsense, if they could be killed so easily, I would have killed them long ago. Li Bai rolled his eyes and said slowly. Hey, you said it before, right? But things are different now. The evil thought clone showed a meaningful smile. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 586. Li Bai, it's time to end this final grudge between us. Yes, this grudge has dragged on for countless ages. It's time to end. Yes, but we really didn't expect that the era created by Wu Nian would now change hands. Xiantian Wu Nian and the others looked at Li Bai and said slowly. Your Majesty, do you need our help? Guangdi said slowly. Guangdi, let's just watch the show patiently. It will definitely surprise you, the evil thoughts clone said slowly from the side. No need, I can do it alone. Li Bai shook his head. The real war is about to break out. At this moment, there are many pairs of eyes, penetrating through all the obstacles and focusing their gaze here. Do you think Li Bai can kill them? In a special space, the spirit of the river of time spoke slowly. Old friend, I won't do anything I'm not sure about. In the end, my old friend will definitely win. After all, I know him very well. Dark Disaster said slowly, even though his tone was calm, there was still a hint of worry on his face. What you said is the same as what you didn't say. Do you know that you are just like Li Bai's licking dog? The spirit of the river of time said helplessly. You idiot, if you say one more thing, believe it or not, I will let darkness contaminate you. Dark Calamity glanced at the spirit of time, and in an instant, the latter shivered. Among the group of creatures Li Bai knew, Dark Calamity was definitely ranked at the top, just like the light butterfly. TCH, you think I'll be afraid? I won't say anything anymore. Why are you yelling so loudly? By the way, it's destiny, why did you come here? Then, the spirit of the river of time asked about the innate destiny. Why, you have to care whether I come or not. The beautiful eyes of innate destiny glanced at the spirit of the river of time. Oh! You have such an aggressive tone. You are in need of love during menopause, right? You should let Li Bai serve you with a big stick, the spirit of the long river of time whispered. Well, you have the guts to say it again. Xiantian Destiny looked at the spirit of the long river and said with a smile. Hey, Sister Destiny, you heard me wrong. I didn't scold you. My admiration for you is like a torrential river. Shut up. Okay. But having said that, I really didn't expect that my old friend's evil clone would have such a relationship with my old friend. To be honest, I was a little worried at first. I didn't expect it. Even I was involved, my old friend deceived all living beings at once. Dark Disaster changed the subject and sighed, this turn of events was too terrible. Who would have thought that the two of them had planned for this day for so long in advance that some things started to wear out? Haha, this is Li Bai, isn't it? Never believe any of his words, because this is probably another planned trap. Xiantian Destiny said with a sneer. It was obvious that she was not satisfied with Li Bai's concealment of this matter. Sister Destiny, didn't you even think of it? The spirit of the river of time said slowly. Do you think Li Bai might have told me about this kind of thing? Maybe, at the very beginning, even I was a part of this plan. Innate Destiny said slowly. Yes, but Sister Destiny, I think you have to be careful about that Guangdi vixen. Look, the way she looks at Li Bai is almost hairy. The spirit of the river of time whispered. What does it have to do with me? Xiantian Destiny said in confusion. Ah, you're not. The emotion on the face of Time River Spirit said everything. Do you want to die? Damn you, the relationship between Li Bai and me is just a transaction. Innate Destiny said fiercely. Okay, stop arguing and just read on, Dark Disaster said helplessly. On the other side, the atmosphere between the two parties gradually became subtle for a while, and neither party took the lead. Li Bai, what are you waiting for? Why don't you take action? Xiantian Wunian asked slowly. I should be the one to ask you this. I want to see what it is that you think can kill me. Li Bai replied calmly. Okay, in that case, as you wish. Wunian. Destroy. Nirvana. Boom. In an instant, a very strange aura erupted on the mountain of three people. At the same time, the figures of the three people gradually disappeared, as if they were merged in this space. In the beginning, who is responsible for the ups and downs? Only us. All those who come after us are the withered bones under our feet. We are willing to pay any price to summon the mysterious one to come and kill him. Teishu, destroyed. After finishing speaking, everyone felt the arrival of a great terror in an instant, as if there was a membrane in the primordial era that was about to be torn apart by them. For a time, the storm surged, past, present, and countless eras in the future. The world seems to be about to wither away. The law of the beginning and the original law, a certain section quietly broke. At the same time, the creatures in countless worlds had only one thought in their hearts, am I going to die? Seeing this scene, Light Butterfly, Evil Thought Clone, and Dark Disaster and others in another space suddenly widened their eyes and looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief, as if the development of things had reached the most terrifying point. What are they doing? Are they crazy? Sacrificing decay, the three of them actually decayed themselves. Is this possible? Is this possible? Is Teishu going to be destroyed? Destruction is impossible, it just opened a gap. Staring at this scene, Xiantian Destiny suddenly thought of something, and a terrible idea gradually emerged in her mind, which was something she thought of anyway. Could it be that they are going to take the initiative to reveal the secrets before Teishu, or? Thinking of this, Xiantian Destiny no longer dared to continue imagining, his face became paler and bloodless. At the same time, at the location of the seven masters, they also looked at the scene in disbelief. The three of them actually betrayed. I was wondering why, it was torn apart just now, it turned out to be them. Damn it, are they going to come completely? What about Li Bai? What about us? Several of them started to panic. After all, they never thought of letting Li Bai face it now. Don't worry, it shouldn't be me who came. With the three of them, it's impossible to completely tear this cage apart. It should be the same as before, just a breath, or a phantom. This is the worst result I can think of. Believe that Li Bai can solve it? To be precise, I should believe in the memory fragments of Li Bai. Wang Fu said hurriedly. At this point, there is no other way, right? We can only believe in Li Bai. Yes. Brothers, I'm back. I had an eye surgery before, and now I can gradually look at the computer for a while. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 587. On the other side, after Dark Disaster saw Xiantian Destiny's pale face and trembling pupils, an uneasy feeling slowly arose in his heart. After a long time, he asked. Innate Destiny, do you know something? After hearing these words, the spirit of the river of time also turned its attention to the innate destiny. I have no idea. The vision of innate destiny has never shifted. Not only that, it gradually seems empty. Sister, your tone is trembling, you are exposed. The spirit of the river of time also saw the unnaturalness of the innate destiny, and warned in a timid voice. Shut up, I told you, I don't know. Suddenly, innate destiny's tone became furious, mixed with more negative emotions such as panic, fear, panic, etc. Innate destiny, there are no outsiders here. Dark Calamity frowned after thinking about it for a while and said, something that can make innate destiny so frightened may no longer be a thing in the Taipei era. I don't know what to say, I really don't know, no. I don't know, don't force me, don't ask any more, is it okay? Please don't ask. Innate destiny spoke intermittently and hesitantly, never getting to the point. Seeing this, Dark Disaster has gradually confirmed his own thoughts. Is it about, before the beginning? Buzz. Hearing these words, Xiantian Destiny turned his head to look at Dark Disaster, his eyes filled with panic and a wisp of begging, as if begging him not to continue talking. Okay, I understand, but I believe my old friend will be able to solve it. Can he really solve it? His memory. What can we do now? Can you help? Your confidence is close to zero, or even if I add us, we will just be cannon fodder. Dark Calamity sighed. SHH, please read on patiently. The worst outcome is nothing more than a complete end. When we reach our level, life and death no longer matter. In the special space, when Li Bai saw this, his eyes suddenly burst out with light that could pierce all darkness. Brother, why don't you stop it? If this continues, I'm afraid. The evil clone said uneasily. No, I have to get in touch with this layer of secrets. You two go out first and join Dark Disaster and them. Li Bai said slowly, then waved his hand, and a ray of supreme power directly tore through the space. Seeing this scene, the three people of Xiantian Wunian did not stop it. After all, their original target was only Li Bai. Be careful, Lord Emperor. Okay, let's leave first. After speaking, the two left the space. Next, let me get to know you, your backer. Li Bai said softly. Ha 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 ha, as you wish, Li Bai, I hope you won't be scared to tears. Xiantian Wunian's voice came slowly. Don't worry, I who can scare you to tears definitely don't include those you seek refuge with. Besides, it's impossible for them to really show up now, right? Li Bai said lightly. I have to say, Li Bai, becoming your enemy is very exciting and also very miserable. In this case, the network of time condenses. Boom. In an instant, in countless hidden places throughout the era, bright lights suddenly lit up. Then, these lights gradually weaved into an invisible network of the era. This network enveloped the entire era, and no one could escape no matter where they were. Except for one special location. Although this giant net cannot be touched by nearly 99% of living beings, it does not contain the dark disaster and them. This is, the web of time. The spirit of the river of time exclaimed, because at this moment, it felt as if the river of time was gradually surrounded by a net. What a terrifying method, the network of the times. It seems that they have started planning a long time ago, and even we are not aware of it, and they have arranged such a terrifying thing. Dark Calamity sighed. The web of time. What is this? Guangdi looked at a few people and said doubtfully. Oh, you're not afraid of me anymore. Dark Disaster said with a smile. When Guangdi first saw him, he could clearly feel that Guangdi was unnatural. After all, the two of them, one dark and the other light, are eternal enemies. Senior, please stop making fun of me. I don't know the relationship between darkness and light. It's just instinct. But, after all, we are all on the Emperor's side now, right? Guangdi said with a smile and a wink. Ha 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 ha, you little girl, compared to those old immortals in your light, you are too pleasing to the eye. You are right. Although we are old enemies, who can say that we are old enemies? It can't be the same camp. Dark Calamity said with a smile. Senior, have you seen? Of course, every time you old guys see us, it's like taking stimulants, clamoring to start a war, but in the end it's nothing. I think they also know that we are both enemies and friends. Anyway, in this era, it is impossible for that party to really disappear. Hearing the words of Dark Disaster, Guangdi's eyes kept trembling. She could hear the meaning of the last few words. Senior, can it be said that such a place really exists? There is no. You girl, you are quite smart. Maybe you can ask for details, Li Bai. After all, this is just my guess. Okay, back to the topic just now, the web of time. This thing is very scary, extremely scary. You know, the light of the beginning. Dark Disaster asked slowly. Of course, we still have a few strands in our hands now. To put it simply, the web of time is a giant web woven with all things like the light of the beginning. Not one of them can be missing. All. How is this possible? You know, some things were annihilated the moment they were born in the beginning. Even if they are innate originators, they can't collect them all, right? Guangdi asked in disbelief. I finally understand why. They traded with me to get that thing. It turned out to be for this network of era. At this time, Xiantian Destiny on the side suddenly said. What are the terms of their deal with you? The Dark Disaster is coming and Interest suddenly asked. I won't tell you. Senior, that means they also traded with other innate originators. Guangdi said slowly. It should be, I'm definitely not the only one. Innate Destiny nodded, however, there are 7 things. I am very curious about how they got them. 7 things. Innate Destiny, you mean the pillars of creation created by the 7 gods? By the way, didn't you also get a copy at that time? Maybe they. Dark Disaster said suddenly. Forget it, it's useless to say this now. After all, the network of time has been condensed. I don't know how Li Bai will stop it next. Don't worry, Li Bai won't stop it. He is eager to break it quickly so that something can enter here. The clone of evil thoughts who had been silent spoke slowly. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 588. Is this part of your plan? Xiantian Destiny frowned and said. How is it possible? Li Bai didn't get the memory fragments when we were making the plan. What's more, these plans were only remembered after seeing my clone after the outer domain attacked the fairy domain. By the way, that guy is probably watching too, right? The clone of evil thoughts looked somewhere and said calmly. That guy, who? Who? Everyone asked curiously. An important part of our plan is also an old friend you are not familiar with. On the other side, within the space. Come on, start your performance, I am willing to be the witness. Li Bai said slowly, and at the same time, his body began to gradually emit wisps of aura that no one could feel, and his eyes began to change. Close the net. Invasion. In an instant, a crack suddenly appeared in something like an eggshell in an invisible place. At the same time, a mysterious aura quietly invaded the Teishu era. At this moment, the 7 figures on the other side were trembling again. Damn it, here we go again. He said before that we would meet soon, but I didn't expect it to be so soon. The target this time is not us, but Li Bai. Could it be that he will tell Li Bai the reason for everything? Who knows? In short, if we survive this disaster, we must show our cards to Li Bai, and we cannot continue to delay it. Maybe Li Bai has guessed all this. One statue said quietly, and suddenly, the other 6 statues fell into deathly silence. Immediately, this mysterious aura of invasion followed the web of time and found the center point, which was the space where Li Bai existed. Afterwards, the figures of the 3 Xiantian Wunian slowly appeared again. Welcome to you, sir. Welcome to you, sir. Welcome to you, sir. The 3 of them said extremely enthusiastically and respectfully. The moment the words fell, the space was filled with a mysterious atmosphere that made Li Bai feel both familiar and unfamiliar. At the same time, a voice slowly sounded. Li Bai, I finally see you. In an instant, all prying eyes were blocked. I'm such a bastard, what's going on? Am I blind? Why can't I see anything? The spirit of the river of time said slowly. Did you hear that voice just now? What does it mean, you know Li Bai? You ask me, who should I ask? Boom. The next moment, Xiantian Destiny knelt on the ground, his pupils were dilated, and his body was trembling. It's really them, they are coming, they are coming. After hearing these words, everyone fell into a dead silence, not daring to make a single sound. On the other side, Xuanhuan also had dull eyes and murmured in a low voice. Sure enough, this day will come eventually, Li Bai, can you hold on? But Xuanhuan, who was far away in the disaster place of fate heaven, showed no emotion and just sighed softly. Sir, I never thought that this day would come so soon, and I haven't even seen you yet. I don't know how long the remnant of this era, can last. Presumably, he must have felt my aura. Xuanhuan seemed to have met his final destiny. My old enemy, I still haven't been able to see you after all. Are you also disappointed that you didn't see the adults? At the same time, in the mysterious space, Li Bai fell into silence after hearing these words, and the owner of the voice did not start to urge. In this way, the flow of time in this mysterious space continues to accelerate. Of course, this is an independent time and space and is not controlled by the river of time. In this way, the 2 sides fell into silence for a while, and the 3 people of Xiantian Wunian did not make any move. 1 year, 10 years, 1,000 years, millions of years, tens of millions of years, hundreds of millions of years, countless years. After that, Li Bai finally spoke softly. Who are you? This is the first time that Li Bai has felt a threat to his life. Yes, it is a threat to his life. This is the first time that Li Bai has no confidence that he can defeat the opponent. If others know, they may think that it is ridiculous and fanciful. Night story, you must know that he is Li Bai, the Emperor in White, immortal, eternal existence. You finally answered. I thought you were mute. However, your question is quite funny. You don't even know me. Or are you pretending not to know me? The mysterious voice slowly sounded again, full of doubts. You have not answered my question yet. Don't worry, we have plenty of time to discuss it slowly. But before that, aren't you ready to solve these three? The mysterious voice said slowly. Hearing these words, Xuanhuan and the others were immediately stunned. Sir, what do you mean? There is nothing between us. Xuanhuan roared in horror. Do you really think I would make a deal with a complete betrayer? For some reason, Li Bai felt for a moment that these words seemed to be talking about himself. Sir, you can't do this. We already belong to you. You can't give up on us. Okay, Li Bai, let me see it again, with the candles shining at dusk. Speaking of which, I miss you so much. Hearing these words, Li Bai's pupils suddenly tightened. Now his heart was completely clear. It was the same as his inference when the mysterious voice first appeared. Seeing that Li Bai had not taken action yet, the mysterious voice came again. Why, don't tell me that it took you so long to forget. Then, what about other things, such as, by the way, what else is there? Oh, tell me, I have forgotten it for such a long time. What other moves do you have? It shouldn't be. If you want to see the candlelight at dusk, I can satisfy you, but you have to answer me a question first. Li Bai said lightly. Ha 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 ha, you really haven't changed at all, Li Bai, you are still the Li Bai I know, and you are not willing to suffer any losses. There was obviously a hint of excitement and surprise in the tone of the mysterious voice. But before that, you have to answer a small question for me. Don't worry, it's not an important question. You have no memory of me, do you? The mysterious voice asked slowly. Hearing this, Li Bai nodded, non-committal. No wonder, you don't know me. Let me just say, no matter how many epochs have passed, you can't forget my voice that is so familiar to me. However, this is really a bit troublesome. Forget it, I've met you after all. It's a beginning. You can ask your questions, but I may not be able to answer them. Hearing this sentence, Li Bai unconsciously twitched the corners of his mouth, and then asked slowly. Are you still alive? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de La Chang. Chapter 589. Hearing Li Bai's question, it was obvious that the owner of the mysterious voice was stunned for a moment. He had thought about countless questions that Li Bai might ask, and even some extremely serious topics. He was still thinking about how to answer these serious questions. What a topic! As a result, Li Bai asked an incredible topic, and for a while, even he didn't know how to answer. Li Bai, what the hell do you mean? You know it's very impolite to ask this question. Although you have always been impolite, you can't ask like this. Damn you guy. It's very bad. In an instant, the mysterious voice began to complain endlessly about Li Bai, which made Li Bai's ears almost get calluses. The defense is broken, are you in a hurry? Li Bai's joking voice slowly echoed throughout the space. Li Bai, at #UN%\U0026, whoever is in a hurry, whoever broke the defense, can you speak? Soon a mysterious and angry voice came from the space. Or, you don't dare to answer, or, no, pigeon, You guys are already dead, right? My brother also accidentally mentioned Pigeon's pain. After all, he is disliked by Gage, that's all. Gage is so free and easy on weekdays, but it's because his younger brother is so arrogant. Li Bai's tea was full of tea, and he said in a strange tone. If Nanyi and others saw this scene, they don't know what they would think. After all, Li Bai has always been a Wei Guangzheng image in their minds. Li Bai, you deserve to die. What are you so angry about? I ask you what the dog is barking at. Who asked you to ask such a question, and who asked you to answer like this? In an instant, Mysterious Sound could no longer hold back and began to curse Li Bai endlessly, finally breaking through his defense. This scene made Xuanhuan and others on the side completely petrified and dumbfounded. They could not imagine that such a terrifying mysterious existence would chatter at Li Bai like a shrew. Did we find the wrong backer? Xuanhuan asked a question from the depths of his soul. Perhaps, the road has been narrowed by us, but I don't understand why the two of them. Do you want to run away? Where do you think you could run to? After pondering for a while, Li Bai slowly spoke. If you put it this way, it seems like I'm careless. You. Okay, no more joking, you answer my question first, you only need to answer yes or no, that's all. Li Bai put away his emotions and said extremely seriously. This issue is very important to you. Don't you want to get to know me and us? The mysterious voice said coldly. Answer my question first. After a long silence, the mysterious voice slowly spoke. Alive, but not really alive. This is an ambiguous answer, simply called, quantum alive. Hearing these words, Li Bai showed a relaxed smile and said slowly. Yeah, that's really a pity. Li Bai, have you really lost that memory? Why don't I feel the same? The mysterious voice asked with great confusion. Of course I didn't lie to you. Forget it, we'll talk about these things later. It's your turn. Let me see the candlelight at dusk again. The mysterious voice did not linger too much, because it had no meaning. Whether Li Bai remembered it or not, there was an irresolvable bond between them. Li Bai was a betrayer after all, and this could not be washed away. As you wish. After Li Bai finished speaking, he took a breath and whispered. Candlelight at dusk. Buzz. The next moment, this space seemed to be constantly changing. Everything that was originally there gradually withered away and was replaced by a scene that the Xuanhuan trio had never seen before. I saw that a sacred and solemn twilight kingdom slowly appeared, and then, wisps of mysterious and unfamiliar aura filled the space, and then countless phantoms slowly appeared, and the three people of Xuanhuan had lost everything at this moment. The ability to think, because they can detect that among these phantoms, there are no less than 108 origins. Then an even more terrifying scene happened. These phantoms knelt down and worshipped together, all looking at the same place and the same person, and this person was Li Bai at this moment. They seemed to be the most fanatical believers. At this moment, the three Xuanhuan were roaring crazily in their hearts, because from the moment this twilight kingdom appeared, they felt like prisoners without any power to resist, especially after seeing these phantoms kneeling down to worship Li Bai. Countless terrifying thoughts kept popping up in their minds. Damn, 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 what is this, what on earth is this country? How is it possible, could it be that Li Bai is the master of this country? Haha, it's impossible, absolutely impossible. How could he be a person of this era? Impossible, absolutely impossible. My life is at an end. On the other side, seeing the mystery of this scene, I was constantly ecstatic in my heart. That's right, this familiar taste, it's three familiar recipes, good. Tisk tisk, but, Li Bai, you are really cruel, just for betrayal, you actually let these believers of yours wait for so long. Tell me, we didn't really disagree at the time. Why did you take those 7 statues and other ants to betray the entire mysterious era? It's a pity, one of us must die. You may have been a hunter before, but now, you have become the prey in our eyes. Mysterious sighed. To be honest, he didn't want to be an enemy of Li Bai. After all, he had lived with Li Bai for a period of time. He understood how terrible Li Bai was, but now it's different from the past. They are making progress, and Li Bai has lost not only his memory due to betrayal, but also his former strength. That's right, at this moment, Li Bai's strength is in a very awkward realm between mysterious and innate originators, referred to as incomplete. However, perhaps, something that Li Bai has been pursuing is the most critical step to step into the mystery. Okay, the 3 of you, the final chapter is about to be written, and the countless epochs of grievances between you 3 and me will finally be cleared up. Candlelight. Extinguish. After Li Bai finished speaking, in an instant, a ray of dusk shone on the bodies of the 3 people, and then, in the midst of a series of magnificent and solemn prayers, everything the 3 people had began to gradually fall off, without any fancy tricks. For this reason, they were not reconciled. After all, they spent countless epochs to plan, so that the network of time was built by them, just to allow the mystery to kill Li Bai. Although, it is not known whether the mystery can kill Li Bai according to their agreement in the end, but no matter what, they will eventually disappear completely in the long river of time and history before Li Bai, in this primordial era. Li Bai, you are still better after all. We lost. It seems that even if we destroy the heavens and the worlds now, it will be useless. Never mind, this is fate. It's ridiculous that the origin of the innate will die under fate. It's really ironic. Li Bai, I hope you can find the answer you are looking for. The dying person's words are also good. Goodbye, the origin of the innate. Goodbye, Teishu, everything will return to dust and earth to earth. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 590. With the last murmur to himself, the 3 Xuanhuan people completely dissipated at this moment, and they were truly dead. At this moment, a new era has been created. After all, no Xuanhuan originator has ever been completely destroyed before, and it is still 3. Of course, the deaths of the 3 people did not have any fluctuation in Li Bai's state of mind. After all, this was a destined outcome, but it was just a little ahead of schedule. At the moment when the 3 people died, Li Yao and others who were following the 3 Xuanhuan people suddenly discovered that their bodies began to gradually dissipate. What's going on? My body, my power, my source. No, 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 it's impossible. How could the master fall? It's absolutely impossible. All this is an illusion. Yes, it's an illusion. I don't want to die. With roars one after another, all the acquired origins disappeared in an instant. One was prosperous and the other was destroyed. When Li Yao and others saw this scene, their eyes met, and then an extremely hot light burst out from their eyes. Disappeared, could it be, is. That's right, my father succeeded. Xuanhuan and the others have completely fallen. Ha 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 ha, great, great, we have finally cut off the grudges that have been entangled for countless epochs. Yeah, Dad is the best. Li Yao and others shouted with great excitement. At this moment, in countless locations throughout the era, every Xuanhuan originator felt the deaths of the 3 Xuanhuan people. Haha, you are indeed Li Bai. We have a sense of crisis. Fortunately, there is no bad blood between me and Li Bai, otherwise. Protruding, this pussy is too scary. Several innate origin people all expressed their emotions from the bottom of their hearts. Some were thankful, but some were also worried. It's over, it's over. Li Bai can really kill us. What should I do? During the Battle of Origin, I scolded him. He couldn't come along and kill me, right? Li Bai, please don't come to me, I didn't mess with you, if it doesn't work, I will be your little brother. Damn it, how is this possible? Among the innate originators, isn't it, could it be that Li Bai has already made a breakthrough? In another space. Tisk, I didn't expect that these three are really gone. As expected of Li Bai. The spirit of the river of time shouted excitedly, after all, he was now on Li Bai's side. As expected of an adult, awesome and fierce. Light Butterfly's whole body reflected the colorful light, and Lian's family flushed. She had admired Li Bai for countless epochs. At this moment, she felt that she was Li Bai physically and mentally, and she was almost turning into the shape of Li Bai. Yes, I didn't expect that my old friend could really kill them completely. However, now is not the time to be happy. Don't forget. The scowl on Dark Disaster's face does not diminish but grows. Yes, now is the real beginning. The clone of evil thoughts said in a heavy voice. As for the innate destiny, she was silent at the moment. No one knew what she was thinking at the moment. On the other side, in a place extremely far away from the center of the times, Xiaoxi couldn't help but ask in confusion after seeing his ancestors stunned for a moment. Ancestor, what's wrong? This person is the creator of the innate curse and the curse temple. How the creek was found is unknown. Girl, do you know that 3 innate originators disappeared just now? Innate curse looked at the creek and sighed. Sigma, A. Ah, it's gone, ancestor, what do you mean it's gone? Could it be that? Xiaoxi's eyes trembled violently, and she covered her red lips in disbelief. You want to know who did it? Innate curse showed a mysterious smile. Yeah. Xiaoxi nodded eagerly, but after a moment, he shook his head crazily. It's Li Bai. Oh, Li Bai. Ah, what the hell, Li Bai? After Xiaoxi reacted, he was horrified. Yes, that's him. I really didn't expect that he would become so terrifying. You must know that during the Battle of Origin, he... Forget it, forget about this. At this moment, Xiaoxi was still like a wooden man, dumbfounded and stunned on the spot. This sentence kept echoing in his mind. Li Bai did it? Girl, wake up. The innate curse gave Xiaoxi a slight bump on his head. Ah, ancestor. Do you feel terrible? It's okay, it's not that scary. After all, Li Bai and I are not enemies, we're just a little surprised. Xiaoxi shook his head and whispered softly. Be prepared. I'm afraid the most catastrophic thing in this era is about to come. The source has appeared, said the innate curse weakly. Even if they are the innate originators like them, when facing those mysteries, just like ants. Xiaoxi naturally knew what was going on. After all, Li Bai had told her before, and the innate curse also talked about this matter. Then Dai Mei asked hurriedly. Ancestor, can we really, can win? If it were us, there would be no chance, not even a single one. Then, Xiantian curse changed the subject, however, all these opportunities are with Li Bai, and now we have no choice but to trust him. Haha. Hearing this, Xiaoxi laughed unconsciously, but it was a sad laugh. Girl, what are you laughing at? The ancestor just feels a little ironic. From the beginning to now, all the Xiantian originators, endless creatures, endless strength, now all put their fate in the hands of one person. Don't you think it's ridiculous? Xiaoxi looked at Xiantian curse and said without joy or sadness. When you really understand the truth of the matter, you may understand why our fate is in the hands of Li Bai. After speaking, Xiantian curse slowly closed his eyes, as if waiting for the judgment to come, while Xiaoxi stared in one direction and murmured, Bai, can we really trust you?